If you're a freelance creative, you're entrepreneurial. Freelancing and being entrepreneurial basically are the same idea. Being entrepreneurial means that you prefer self-determination, you can be choosy about your clients and projects, and you like to work your own way. Generally speaking, you enjoy the freedom of being self-employed. Establishing and managing a business so you can make a living from your creative work your way isn't easy, and probably not what most of us expected when we started out. There's a lot of roadblocks, there's a lot of potholes, there's a lot of fits and starts that occur as we learn business and we learn to work with clients and build those relationships. I've been freelancing for over 3 decades, and I've become a strong advocate for building a real business and doing it the right way so that it sustains your creative work. That's why I founded Freelance Road Trip, to help my fellow freelancers who experience the same struggles I did figure things out, avoid troubles, and ultimately thrive, making a living from their creative work. The thing is, with all the competition out there, freelancing, the self-employed economy is booming. And now with artificial intelligence looming as both an asset and a threat to creative work, how can you stand out? How will you be found? How will you differentiate? How will you make a living? How will you continue to build your business, attract your best clients, and become known for significant work? So in this episode, which is episode number 121, and you can find the show notes at freelanceroadtrip.com/show121, I'm going to offer you 4 things for your consideration that can help you thrive in your creative business. You're listening to the Freelance Road Trip podcast. We're located at the intersection of inspired creativity and common business sense. And we talk about everything you didn't learn in design school, but should have if you want to build a career and a life as an independent creative. I'm Alvalin Lundgren. I'm founder of Freelance Road Trip, which is an online business school program designed to help freelancers shift into high gear without stalling out. I'm also founder of Alvalin Creative, my brand strategy design consultancy, where I design, influence, and draw attention by helping businesses, organizations, and authors build their platforms through my 4-part branding framework. Years ago, when I graduated from a prestigious design school, I had my portfolio and no idea what to do with it. Over the years, I made my way through many potholes, roadblocks, and detours to grow my business into a successful enterprise, and now I teach my fellow creatives to do the same. I created Freelance Road Trip to help other creatives navigate smoothly and avoid the problems I ran into, because one thing I discovered was that those very same problems I faced are common to freelancers everywhere, even today, and you've most likely experienced them too. But with knowledge and the confidence that comes with it, you can power through and perhaps even sidestep many problems altogether. Here in the Freelance Road Trip podcast, I share proven strategies and practical answers to transform your creative drive into a thriving creative business so that you can accelerate your creative and material growth. So, 4 ways to thrive in your creative business. Number 1, don't settle for less in your creative process. Put the effort in everything you do. Along with the business effort, your creative process matters if you want to thrive. If you have a tenuous process, or it shifts and changes with every new client and new project, you will lose trust with your clients. Your solutions may not work out well for them. You may be taking too long with ideation and exploration. You may be coming up with ideas that don't fit the client and are rejected. You may be relying on templates and do-it-yourself design sites. Do you really want to create work that's just good enough, or that will do well enough? Is that why you have chosen to freelance as a creative? Oftentimes we jump to the first idea that forms in our thinking and we run with it, thinking because it's the first one, it must be the best one. It's good enough, it'll do. We go through the creative process, we get paid for our work, and we move on. There's an exercise I give to my design students from time to time, and it's something they really do complain about because they think it's tedious, but in the middle of it is when they start realizing the benefits of it. The assignment is that they have to come up with 100 different ways to express the same idea or subject. So what invariably happens is that the first couple dozen or so ideas that each person comes up with are pretty much the same that everybody else comes up with, because it takes that many acknowledgments or explorations of ideas to kind of get rid of the stuff that we already know, the trite, the mundane, the banal, the common. There's a lot of commonness to the first ideas that people come up with. Nothing's really innovative. Nothing really stands out. But once the person pushes through those obvious mundane ideas, that innovative ideas start flowing. But they don't start flowing until you get past the ordinary. So don't toss out the initial dozen or so ideas. Set them aside and keep going. If you're currently operating under the good enough banner, that's actually not good enough, not now, especially in the times and the seasons in which we live and work. Your competition isn't just other freelancers, it's the easy solution. It's artificial intelligence. It's DIY sites. It's software. It's templates. So you need to decide what your approach will be in developing creative solutions for your clients. Are you going to be truly innovative and high value for your clients? Are you going to be truly custom and bespoke and put the effort into that level of thinking and creative problem solving? Or are you going to take the easy road? Number 2, and I've talked about this before many times, stop thinking like an artist. Start thinking like a designer or an illustrator or a photographer. But you're not a fine artist. You work with clients. You're not expressing your creative drive. There's a lot of emphasis, if you go to design school, on the process, on the exploration, on the research, and that is all well and good. But to what end? If you're a fine artist, it can be all about you. It can be all about how you want to express yourself and the things that are important to you. But when you serve clients, you're not a fine artist. It is not about you, and it's not about your self-expression. There's an end result that you have to achieve with your creative work, and that means that a focus on exploration is good, but purpose has to drive the exploration. The purpose has to keep you focused. The well-known innovative designer of the 20th century, Paul Rand, once said that clients don't come to you to make something pretty. They come to you to create something that will do something for them, that will go to work for them. Your clients come to you not because you're very creative, but because you can solve their problems. You have the ability to understand their situations and then craft creative solutions that can get them out of their funk. And they'll appreciate your creativity in the end result, but they won't value it for itself. And I've talked with so many creatives who wait to begin until they're hit with some piece of inspiration. They put off starting, then they end up rushing as a deadline looms, and they believe they work better under pressure because this is the way they've always worked. The reality is, and most successful creatives will tell you this, inspiration comes once you get to work. You won't recognize it otherwise. So start your research and ideation process early. Don't wait for something to spark. Pursue inspiration through research, concept development, and trial and error. When we serve clients, creativity has to lead to something. It has to serve in the marketplace. So, designers and artists use the same aesthetic principles but apply them differently. It's the same if you're a copywriter doing sales and advertising, or a copywriter for business and tech, or you are a novelist. You use the same syntax and grammar and language structure, but you apply it differently. A jazz musician will use the same musical notation structure and apply it differently than a rock musician. So don't get hung up on the design principles and elements. Don't get hung up on the creative process. Make sure you're tuned in to the problems that you are supposed to be solving and the needs you're supposed to be meeting. If your aim in life, in work, is to profit from your creative work by serving clients, you have to deal differently with yourself and your creative approach than if you're an artist. Designers solve problems and meet needs. Design is a service profession, it's not self-expression. And I do talk about this difference a lot. In my design courses, students who come in from a fine art background complain that they can't be creative as they'd like. They can't be as creative as they'd like because of the constraints of a project. They were prevented from doing a certain type of explorations. And for them, having to deal with the purpose and function of a creative project mitigates their enjoyment of the creative process. But that's on them, because they don't understand their purpose as creatives working with clients. And I teach design, not fine art. Even illustrators are different in focus from fine artists in that they're creating imagery that communicates specifically, whether it's an abstract concept, a story, a narrative, or it's showing off a product for advertising purposes. Illustration may be style-driven, but it's not self-expression. It has a service purpose. And the same can be said for commercial photography and copywriting. If you prefer to focus on serendipitous exploration, you certainly can, but you most likely won't serve your clients well if that's your pursuit. Every client has a particular situation they need to address, and they're looking for you not to create something pretty and creative, but something that will help them grow their enterprises. And if you have trouble with that idea, go ahead and be a fine artist and use your process to create things to sell to customers and collectors. That is a very legitimate pursuit and use of your creative talents and skill. There's room for both the artist and the designer. You can even do both concurrently, but if you're making a living at both, understand that you have two different audiences. With one, you're B2C, or business to consumer, that would be the artist. And with the other, you're B2B, or business to business. And it's the business to business that brings upon the constraints and problem solving. Number 3, learn to get along with failure. A lot of people hate to fail because they think they failed. It's very human to fail at something. Trial and error are a natural part of the design process. They should be expected. We try something, and if it doesn't work, we are okay with scrapping it and trying again. Failing is simply learning what doesn't work. So if we can eliminate what doesn't work as quickly as possible, we are that much closer to developing a right solution. So don't be afraid of failing in your process. Even seasoned creatives deal with trial and error. There's a logical fallacy known as the sunken cost fallacy. You invest so much time and effort, even money, into something that's just not going to work, but because you've invested so much, you're reluctant to scrap it. You have an emotional attachment because of your investment. The sunken cost fallacy basically means we hold on to things that aren't working because we've put so much time, money, and energy into them that we don't want to lose that investment, although it's already lost, because it's not working, it's already a train wreck. Keep in mind that the value of your creative work isn't in the time you spend, the money you invest, or the creative effort you put out. It's in how well the work fulfills the need. The value is on the back end. It's in the results, not the process. I've shared about this principle over and over again in these podcasts and also in my courses. Be willing to let go and begin again, and to do that as quickly as possible, not to hang on in hopes that something is going to work out okay. Learn to recognize when you're spinning your wheels on something and going nowhere. Pull over, get out of the car, make a change, then get back in the car and get rolling again in a better direction. And yes, I do use cars and road trip analogies quite a bit because this is freelance road trip. It's part of the brand. It's a metaphor. Number 4, it is okay to be profitable. Creative freelancers make a living by creating intellectual property and selling it to clients. That's what we do. There's a movement known as mutuality, and actually it's not new, it's just kind of renamed. It's also known as collectivism, and it's where ownership is considered automatically collective, and no one owns an idea or the result of a creative work, and it's better to work on a team or in collaboration so you can bounce ideas, and no one person owns any of those ideas. The problem with this idea is that it impedes the ability to grow a brand or a business. Ownership of intellectual property is necessary to protect trade and commerce. And now we know under copyright law, you cannot protect your ideas via trademark or copyright. There has to be visual expressions or audio expressions or written expressions of these things. You cannot protect an idea floating around in your head with copyright. You cannot claim ownership of that idea because copyright and trademark only work with tangible work. But ownership of IP or intellectual property is absolutely necessary to protect trade and commerce. So you can certainly by choice offer your creative solutions via Creative Commons licensing, or you can put them out in public domain and not claim copyright, although you're the author of the work. But how will that turn out for you if you intend to profit, meaning earn money and make a living from your creative work? There's also another idea floating around that capitalism is all about scarcity, and capitalism is a bad thing. But that's not an accurate representation of what capitalism is. In reality, if you study it out, the capitalist system gives you the ability to create your own wealth, whereas collectivism, socialism, communism, mutualism run on scarcity and redistribution of wealth so that everybody is supposed to have the same amount. But that doesn't work. Socialism doesn't work. Socialism assumes scarcity, and there's only so much to go around, and those who have are supposed to give to those who don't have. Those who can produce are supposed to give to those who don't produce. Capitalism is the only economic system that helps you build wealth. It gives you that ability. It rewards effort. It rewards merit. It does not discriminate. If you do the things that create profit, you will profit. You can grow your own wealth from your creative work. You can make a living from your creative work that supports your life. You can use your resources to help others as you see fit. As a freelancer, your clients will be businesses and organizations that are in it to profit. Even nonprofits have to make a profit in order to stay in business. Nonprofit is a tax status, by the way. So your clients come to you to create the visual and written communications needed to reach their audiences. So you create communication solutions specifically for the client so that they can position, differentiate, and grow. And these communications need to be protected either through copyright or trademark registration, or both. You hand over ownership of these visual assets to the client and get paid for them. That's how we make our living as freelance creatives. Ownership is necessary for any business to prosper. This is true for your own freelance business and for your clients' businesses. So understand that both capitalism and socialism include ideas about ownership, but they differ in regard to who owns what. If you're a freelancer, you own your business, you own your time, your process, your destiny, your goals. It's all up to you. You're responsible to make enough to sustain your life because living costs money. You need money to live, to pay your rent or your mortgage, to run your business. If you don't generate profits, you won't be in business very long. Capitalism is considered more advantageous for freelancers compared to socialism because there are incentives for innovation and growth. Capitalism provides strong incentives for freelancers to innovate, grow, become more skilled, and improve their situation. Entrepreneurs in a capitalist system are driven by the pursuit of profit and therefore can retain the rewards of their successes. And this motivates freelancers, small business owners to take risks, invest, research and develop and add skill and add service offerings, develop new products, all leading to growth. In a capitalist system, freelancers operate in a competitive market, and that provides the opportunity to thrive and succeed based on their own merits. Competition encourages efficiency, creativity. It forces businesses to provide better products, better value, improved service, and that's true for freelancers as well. And freelancers benefit from this environment because they have the freedom to enter certain markets, compete with larger businesses and design firms, and also find niche markets to serve. Capitalism offers freelance businesses the flexibility to adapt to changes in market conditions. They can quickly respond to emerging trends and make decisions about how to utilize trends in technology. They can adjust quickly because they have the autonomy to make business decisions without the interference of regulations and other hurdles, and they're able to be agile and immediately responsive to their clients' needs. So these factors help to the overall success and growth of your freelance business under a capitalist system and provide you with the freedom, the opportunities, and incentives you need to develop creatively and materially. Every client you work with is different, with their own unique needs and business objectives, and you have the ability to study the problems, determine creative solutions, and implement them for your clients so that they can grow. And by helping your clients prosper, you can also prosper. And that's the best kind of mutuality. So in summary, as a freelancer, you should pursue profits and work to become more profitable because that's the means for you to build your business and also support your life. You should look at failures and mistakes as opportunities to find better solutions. You should stop thinking like an artist and start thinking like a designer and a business owner. And you should understand that the value of your work is in the results more than it's in the process. Well, thanks for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you who downloads and listens and shares this podcast. Again, you'll find the notes for this episode at freelanceroadtrip.com/show 121. That's 121. You can connect with me on Instagram at Freelance Road Trip and also at Alvalin Creative, and on Twitter at Freelance Trip. And if you haven't already, be sure to join the mailing list so that you get freelancing tips and industry insights parked in your inbox a couple times a month. Go to freelanceroadtrip.com/newsletter to sign up. It's free and very valuable. May you prosper in all things and be in health, and I'll see you on the road.